back to the Daily Grind. Thanks for checking out the channel. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back pickle biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
The UFC's current light heavyweight champion Daniel Cormier believes with the win over Stipe Miocic, the UFC's current heavyweight champion, it would make him the greatest fighter of all time, and I must say, I agree. And he said it could make him, or the article says that it could make him the greatest fighter of all time. I'll take it one step further and say it would make Daniel Cormier the greatest fighter of all time. I mean, hell, Daniel Cormier is arguably right now the #1 or #2 greatest fighter of all times, just when you take into consideration his resume. I mean, he's already been successful at multiple weight classes. Daniel Cormier was 13-0 at heavyweight before moving down to light heavyweight and becoming the champion. He had wins at heavyweight over Roy Nelson, Frank Mir, some big boys up there. So he's proven himself at heavyweight. He did not want to fight his teammate Cain Velasquez, who was also aspiring to be the heavyweight champion, because they're teammates. So he said, listen, you dominate the heavyweight division, I'll go down to light heavyweight. And that's when Daniel Cormier continued his success. He became the light heavyweight champion, the only person Daniel Cormier ever lost to in his entire career, either division, was Jon Jones. And that was a Jon Jones that we know since then has popped dirty for steroids at least 2 times. The first time was dick pills, but it was still a doping violation. They say, you know, that was his excuse for the first violation was dick pills, gas station dick pills. The second time he popped after their second fight. And so, you know, to me, it's pretty reasonable to assess that if Jon Jones would pop dirty for their second fight, knowing he has to be really strict with what he puts in his body. Whenever Jon Jones fought Daniel Cormier the second time, he knew he couldn't be reckless. He was supposed to already be super careful with what he was putting into his body because he had a doping violation in the past. Whenever you have one doping violation in the past, that's when it's time to fucking start asking USADA, hey, this is aspirin, this is Tylenol, which one can I take? You shouldn't be snorting Chinese cocaine and giving yourself a possibility of failing another drug test, which is what happened. So you can blame it on the Chinese cocaine, you can blame it on the gas station dick pills, or you can just say Jon Jones had 2 USADA doping violations, which could point to him being on steroids for if not the entirety of his career, at least for the Daniel Cormier fights. So with that being said, back to Daniel Cormier, the only person he's ever lost to was Jon Jones. One of those fights was overturned, and the first fight was before USADA. So Daniel Cormier could arguably be undefeated like Jon Jones. Jon Jones has 1 loss on his resume as well, but it was because he was disqualified for an illegal elbow. You say he didn't really lose that fight. I mean, some people would say Daniel Cormier lost to a dirty fighter, so he didn't really lose that fight. So what I'm saying is Daniel Cormier was already undefeated at heavyweight, moved down, became the light heavyweight champion, and he's beat everybody not named Jon Jones, including Rumble Johnson twice. He's beat Alexander Gustafsson. He just beat Volkan Ozdemir, who knocked out Jimmy Manuwa and Misha Cirkunov. There's not really any light heavyweights that you look at right now and think they have a chance against Daniel Cormier. He's really just, except for Jon Jones, who's out. It's really crazy, the skill gap, when you consider that. Like, nobody can beat Jon Jones, including Daniel Cormier, but nobody can beat Daniel Cormier. You have to think, though, maybe a clean Jon Jones loses to Daniel Cormier. I'm in that mindset. If we get a clean Jon Jones, and I picked Daniel Cormier to win the second fight because I thought we were going to see a clean Jon Jones. And Jon Jones won the fight. I gave him his props and said, yo, he beat him clean. Then he popped dirty, and I was like, what the fuck? I still think Daniel Cormier could beat a clean Jon Jones. That's just me. But with that being said, now, already, you can already use everything I just said to argue Daniel Cormier being a #1 or #2 pound-for-pound fighter on the planet today. Now he's returning to heavyweight, putting it all on the line as far as his undefeated heavyweight record. He's putting that on the line, his pristine heavyweight record. He's also putting on the line that he hasn't lost to anyone in his career not named Jon Jones, going up against a much heavier guy than the people he's been fighting, the UFC's current heavyweight champion, who just beat fucking Godzilla, Francis Ngannou, you know, in a 5-round fight. So Daniel Cormier is literally just taking this fight. I think should move him literally on the rankings, on the UFC rankings right now. Just for taking this fight, they should move him up to #2. And if he wins this fight, 100% move him up to #1. He'll become the UFC's light heavyweight and heavyweight champion at the same time. 30-pound jump in between there, and honestly, at heavyweight you can fight guys as big as 265 pounds. Now Stipe Miocic came in at about 242, so lucky for Daniel Cormier, he's not one of the biggest heavyweights ever, like Francis Ngannou, but still, it's going to be a tough task, and he's going to be a lot bigger than the guys that Daniel Cormier has been facing. So Daniel Cormier, if he loses this fight, he won't lose his light heavyweight belt, but he will lose you know, his undefeated at heavyweight, his only loss on his resume being to John Jones. So normally whenever a fighter goes up to fight another champion, they don't have much to lose. Whenever Amanda Nunes is going up to fight Chris Cyborg, win or lose, she doesn't have much, you know, it's a win-win for her. But that's because she's not undefeated to everybody not named Cyborg, you know. So Daniel Cormier is actually risking something here, which is super dope. And he's fighting a fucking big dude. He's not just going up 10 pounds. Amanda Nunes, Conor McGregor, they went up 10 pounds. This guy's going up about 30 fucking pounds to take on a big boy, the baddest man on the planet, Stipe Miocic. So if Daniel Cormier does find a way to beat him, and a lot of people are talking like Daniel Cormier is the favorite, like they're picking him to win, like Stipe has no chance, I think they're fucking crazy. But it's very possible. Daniel Cormier is a great fighter, and if he wins, he will be the greatest fighter of all time. So with that being said, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. I'm out.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking D.O.A.T.